Hey, y'all. Welcome to Versions of B, a podcast by a woman for women and sometimes everyone else, discussing the day to day challenges that we face that require us to show up as different versions of ourselves. I'm Brittany, the B in Versions of B, and I want to thank you for joining me for another podcast episode. So, without further ado, let's jump right in. All right. So I would be remiss with starting this podcast without thanking all of you for the love and support that you've shown me since I've launched the podcast and had my very first episode. I want to thank you for all of the feedback, the comments, the thumbs up, the suggestions for different topics that I received. Your outpour of support has been received, felt, and I am immensely happy and overwhelmed by it all. For those of you that are joining for the first time, thank you so much for joining and thank you for allowing me to continue to build out this Versions of B community and family. So, couple of things. Last episode, I got a lot of feedback that people didn't believe that I actually took a shot. I have no idea why. So, with that, I am going to have a drink with you all this episode on camera when I can. I am going to be drinking Stella Rosa Moscato wine. I am a sweet wine girly. So if you have any suggestions that of wines that I should try, let me know. And for those of you that would like to pour up a glass and join me in drinking through this episode, please feel free to do so. Please be over 21. And if you're over 21 and you are drinking, please drink responsibly. Okay, that's my spill. So we'll get into it. Last episode, we showed up as a version of ourselves, self development, self care. This episode, we're showing up as the wives in our relationship, the partners in our relationships. And so I would love to talk about maintaining intimacy within our relationships. I am passionate about this because it's something that I'm always trying to work on and improve on, which I think all of us should as we continue to grow and evolve as individuals and grow as partners within our relationships. But I really felt like this was a feedback topic that I got from a lot of you all that I interacted with. So I wanted to kind of kick it off from there. So for me, talking about maintaining intimacy, I personally have 7 tips and things that I go by to try to continue to build on and engage with my husband to maintain or exceed our intimacy levels. And I would love to share them with you and also ask that if you have any additional feedback or suggestions that you have to please share them with us in the comments as well. And so the first I would always say within anything is open communication. It's really important in any relationship that you have, whether it's an intimate one with your partner or a relationship with a friend group. Open communication is the best form of being able to build on a relationship and to have transparency and clear understanding and setting expectations. Within my marriage, my husband and I have made the commitment to having thorough, open communication type conversations on a daily basis. You would be surprised how much you can learn from someone, even if you've known them for a very long time. My husband and I have been together for almost 13 years, married for almost 3, together for almost 13. And there's times where I'm like, there's nothing that I could learn about you. And I continue to be surprised of little things that I'm like, wow, what is that? And that's all just based on the conversation and getting to know each other. We take 30 minutes of each day to just kind of unwind, to unpack, no electronics, no outside noise, just him and I to talk through different things. And I think that that builds on our ability to support each other, engage with each other throughout the week and within our marriage because we're continuously keeping each other abreast of what's going on, whether that be what's going on with work, what's going on with our friend groups, or what's going on within our marriage. There's other things that we've implemented to also aid us in our communication. One, I downloaded this app called Paired. It kind of gives you questions and topics each day that you can bring up in your conversation with your spouse or significant other. So that's been really helpful. And then there's another like card game. I think it's called Deep Deep Deeper. I'll tag it below on exactly what it is, but it's different categories of conversations from surface level to really deep and intimate that we also pull out sometimes as conversation starters or to just engage with each other on a deeper level. And that has been really eye opening for me. Those are the type of conversations that stem that I'm like, oh, I did not know that. How did I not know that? And so it definitely keeps us engaged and learning more about each other. But it's also the communication of when things aren't working, being able to be open to that conversation, receiving your partner's feedbacks or comments, and then being able to receive it enough to put best practices in place or to talk through that more for improvement. So when they're bringing up things of concern, it's not, well, I did or I don't understand. It's more of a, okay, I received that. I understand. How would you like me to approach that differently? Always coming from an optimistic, open perspective. This is your partner, right? Like your significant other, not your sparring partner. You want this relationship to work. And so you want to have that mindset with going into those conversations. But ultimately, having open communication and knowing your person will lead to the other tips that I have to build on your intimacy. So the second is quality time. You're with someone that you really care about, you're passionate about. So why wouldn't you want to spend time with them? And honestly, quality time for you and your partner is whatever you deem it to be. Some people consider that like going on a date and doing picnics and going on vacation and trips, which is all fine. And I consider that as quality time as well. And then there's someone like me who's like, quality time is when my husband's playing 2K or Madden or a video game. I'm sitting on the couch beside him, reading a book or watching him play Final Fantasy because it feels like a movie, and just having conversation during that. Someone else, there's other times where my husband has changed tires and I sat outside with him while he changed the tires or changed the oil in my car. Something that just has that close and connectingness that you both agree that you believe adds value and brings closeness to you, each other in your relationship. That's quality time. So don't listen to anyone else of like what quality time is to them because that could be totally different. It's what you and your partner decide is quality time. But whatever that is, try to set time aside to do that and do that often because that also will help and aid in your intimacy. The third is acknowledgement and appreciation. Who doesn't love that? When I do something, I'm not doing it for the recognition, but when I am recognized, especially from my partner, it feels good, right? Like, again, that builds on the level of, I don't know, for me, I'm like, I just become more attracted. Like it's just makes me feel good. My partner got my back. He's rooted for me. He recognized this. I worked really hard. He's celebrating me and vice versa. When my man does something good, oh, best believe we're going to celebrate. We're going to go to dinner. We're going to do something like we're going to turn up because that's he deserves that, right? Like they deserve that. And so giving that, just remember how it feels when you have those moments. We also have to remember to give that back to our partner. But with having those moments, it's something for us now to continue to share. We build upon, we have good vibes on, and that only helps when you think about building your intimacy. And this kind of goes hand in hand with number four, which is supporting your partner through their goals, their changes, and their dreams, right? No one wants to be a Debbie Downer. And I'm telling you, when I have that, I have been that. It's been a total mood killer, right? Even if it's not something that you align with, you've picked this person intentionally for a reason. You have trust and faith in them for a reason. So why change that with this particular situation? Don't. Support them, be there for them, allow them to, give the freedom to try something new. Have conversations, keep that open communication if you think it's trending in the wrong direction. But if not, let them be and celebrate them as they do that. And I'm telling you, watch the reaction that you get from your partner when you're hyping them up and you're their best wingman, their best hype man versus their toughest critics. You will see. It'll be like An what is it? What does it have the pearls? The clam? It'll shrivel and close right on up. You don't want that. So let's be the cheerleader. Let's be the rally person behind your partner. And again, that clam will open right on up. And then leading to that, right, is like physical touch. That's the obvious, but I don't want that to be the immediate thing because there's many other things that can contribute to intimacy. And so when people's mind go immediately there, it's like, okay, and what's the add value? How do you get to that place? Some people need to warm up to that. And these other prior tips help you get there. But then when you get there, right, you need to get there. And so physical touch, especially if you've identified what your love languages are, and if you don't know what that is, I would encourage you to go look that up. There's 5 different types, and one of them is physical touch. And so if your partner is really into that, and that's a big love language for them, you also want to be mindful of that as well. But even with the physical touch, that leads me to number 6, which is spicing it up. You can spice it up with your physical touch. You can spice it up with your quality time. Let's not do the same thing every time. If you're used to going to dinner, that's great. Spice it up. Let's do a day date this time, right? Like instead of going to Mastro's or instead of going to Ruth Chris, let's go to Top Golf or let's go to Dave and Buster's. Let's be a kid for a day. Those are the best dates. Let me tell you, when my husband and I turn into little kids, those are the best dates. I'm telling you. And it's also cool because we get to see each other in a different element than we normally are. So you want to spice it up. You also can spice it up in the bedroom. There's different games, there's different things that you can bring into that fold that will allow you to do or contribute to that intimacy factor. Another thing is kind of like I wouldn't say sexting, but like texting. My husband and I do some funny stuff sometimes where like we'll flirt with each other as if we don't know each other, and that's just funny to me. And but it's also cool. Like he'll text me like, "Hey, how are you today?" And I'm like, "Fine. Like this is not how you normally text me. So what's going on?" And then after a couple of text messages, I'm like, "Oh, okay, I get what you're putting down." But it's fun. Let me play into it. Gives me a different vibe and it puts me in a different mindset. And I really love that. And so I'm just giving best practices and tips that work for me, hoping that that resonates with you. But whatever floats your boat, do what you need to do. But I'm telling you, you spice it up, you put a little different flavor in there, you'll get a different response. And you never know, you might have something new to add to your intimacy list. And then the last and most important of the 7, I would say, is that you have to prioritize intimacy. None of the other tips matter if it's not something that's important to you in your relationship. And I think we all know without saying that intimacy is very important within a personal relationship. And so you have to prioritize it. You have to make time. We're all busy. We all have a lot of things going on. I'm a mom. You're probably a mom. You're a wife. You're a partner. You have a full time job. You're working things on the side. You have a kid at home. All the things. I totally get it. But again, what you want, what you're excited about, what you're passionate about, you will make time for. And that includes your partner and the things to make your relationship successful. So you have to prioritize. You have to find the time, whether that's 5 minutes, whatever you all are fine with committing to, right? It could be every week we're going to go on a date. To every other week, it could be in the house, we're having wine, we're watching our favorite movie. And then every other week after that, or outside of that, we're going to go physically out on a date. And I'm putting that there because that's what my husband and I just committed to. So I'm just, giving you ideas. But it could be something like that. It could also be that 5 minutes, 30 minutes a day that you're going to set aside and have those conversations. It could be scheduling time in the bedroom. Listen, we all think and we all have these certain ideas of what we think a realistic marriage, what a realistic level of intimacy looks like, but you just don't know until you're in the moment based on your lifestyle, based on your circumstance. So, whatever works for you in your relationship is what works for you in your relationship. Whatever you're able to commit and your partner's able to commit in your relationship is what works for you in your relationship. These are suggestions. Other people will have suggestions, but only apply and put in the effort for what works and what makes sense for you. And then I have an honorable mention that I will say, which I do think is deeply important as well, which is we are not all knowers of all things, right? Sometimes we need help. And so there's nothing wrong with seeking outside help to kind of help you pinpoint areas of opportunity with building intimacy and the connection within your relationship. That can be in the form of premarital counseling, just regular relationship counseling, seeking a third party for a medical provider, whatever that looks like. And don't be ashamed. I can tell you from firsthand, before I got married, I did couples counseling, and then once we got engaged, we did marital counseling as well, and we still continue to have those type of conversations. That's what works for me. That's what works for my relationship. I'm not ashamed because it's helping and it's working, and that's all that matters. I want a successful relationship and I'm having that, and so that's what's important. I don't care what anyone else thinks about that, and neither should you if that's something that you want to try or that's something that you're already experiencing and doing. Whew. Okay, so intimacy, let's go back through. Okay, 7 tips plus honorable mention. First is open communication. So keeping that dialogue, being engaged. The second is quality time, making sure that you're around each other, giving yourself the opportunity to have those feelings, to get those butterflies, to get in those moods, to have those conversations and those interactions. The third one is acknowledgement and appreciation. Again, we all love accolades. We all love feeling good. We all love feeling appreciated by our partner. So if it's, hey, baby, thank you so much for washing my car or taking out the trash. Hey, baby, thank you so much for putting the baby down for bed tonight so that I could take a really long, relaxing shower. Thank you so much for making sure that my lunch was packed and I was ready for everything to go out of the door for work this morning. Just any little thing that you can show your gratitude and appreciation, even if it's the small things, because those are the things we tend to overlook the most, but it feels good when you're recognized. The fourth is supporting your partner in their goals and their dreams. Again, who wouldn't want that, right? Like that's something that I think each of us look for in a partner. So being able to have that, being able to share that, and then being able to give that is really important in building that intimacy within your relationship. The physical touch, we all know. The only thing I will say with that is like, again, having the communication, scheduling the time if you need to, opening up about what's your likes, what's your desires, what's the turn off, what's the turn on, just to build on that momentum and having the best experience that you possibly can. And that physical touch could just be how you like to hold hands, how when I lay down and you rub my head when I'm laying in your lap feels really good. Those apply to intimacy and physical touch as well. It doesn't always have to be, doing the do. Okay. The next would be spicing it up. So again, we're a creature of habit. That makes sense. But we all know that sometimes if we spice it up, it just adds value and gives more excitement to the situation. And then it explores and opens you up to new and different things that you didn't even know that you might like or that you want to implement. So always be open to spicing up, whether it's, like I said, doing different games to have open up conversations, spicing up with things in different styles within your bedroom, or spicing up in conversations and how you approach things together and how you open up to each other. Any of those things could really help in building your intimacy. And then the last is making sure that you prioritize. Again, none of this matters unless you do the work and unless you make this an obligation for your relationship. And only then will it be adding to your success to your relationship. So, as I close this episode out, I do want to encourage you all to engage with our chat, engage with our social handles and our different pages because I think this is a really good topic. And I'm a firm believer that I continue to grow from other people's experiences as well as my own. And so if there's other things that you can add to these tips, maybe we go from 7 to 11 to 12 to 20. I don't know. But if it's helpful to you, I would love for you to take these feedbacks, take these tips, and also share your own. In addition to that, of course, I would love for you to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Let me know how you feel like this episode went, anything that you would like me to cover in future episodes, or anything that you would like me to change or highlight for future episodes as well. Again, as always, thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you very soon. Love y'all. B.